I'm Tim Dolbear from Eclectica Studios in Austin, Texas. I'm here to show you through the service adjustments for the Manley Variable Mu Compressor. Now, I'm a full-time mixing and mastering engineer. I'm not an electronics engineer, so I was a little apprehensive the first time I had to swap out a bad tube in my Variable Mu. When you read through the procedures, it can leave you with a lot of questions and a lot of unknowns. Well, this video is here to clear up those and help you quickly set up your unit and get back to work in the studio. Let's dive in. My unit is a mastering edition with T-bar mod. This is version 9 of the Manley Variable Mu. In this version, the DC balance adjustments are on the inside of the unit, not on the front. If you have a previous version, your voltmeter will simply take its measurements from the front of the unit rather than inside. So you will need a small flathead screwdriver. I'm using the one that came with the unit. You will also need a voltmeter and a way to feed audio from your digital audio workstation to the Variable Mu and bring it back into your digital audio workstation and measure its output in dBs. For me, I'm using a -6 dB 1K sine wave generated in Sequoia. And I'm using Total Mix from RME to monitor the Variable Mu's output level. So set the unit so input is at 12 o'clock, straight up, and the output fully clockwise. Now attack and release, set them to the fastest settings, turn off the high pass filters, set your link switch to separate, the threshold to 0 dB, and the units in limit mode and not bypassed. You will need to warm up the unit for at least an hour first. I also had to add extensions to the audio feed in order to reach a solid, well-lit place to work. Remember, do not touch anything inside the unit. Keep your fingers, your arms, your clothing away from the inside of this unit. The tubes are hot, and there's a very high voltage running through this unit, and your day will end badly. Okay, here we go. First, we are setting the DC balance. This should be done when you replace tubes after the initial 8-hour burn-in, and I recommend it be checked and adjusted after the first week of use also. From there, it should be done every 6 months. Set your voltmeter to DC and to the lowest setting. For me, that's DC 2000 MV. On the new unit, the voltmeter reads from these 2 points, older units from the front. Now with a small screwdriver, adjust the trim pot till the voltmeter reads 0. They say plus or minus 10 MV, but I shoot for 0 or as close as possible. When you first put the tubes in, the reading may be far from 0. These new tubes I just put into the T-bar mod for me were at plus 273 and plus 161 for the 2 different channels. Simply bring them down to 0. You'll do this for both channels independently. Next, we are zeroing the meters in limit mode. Using trim pot VR4 and VR12, those are the meter adjustments on the front of the unit, 1 for each channel. Adjust the VU to 0. Then switch to compress and adjust VR5 and VR13. You will need to switch back to limit and adjust the limit trim pots, the ones on the front, again, and then back to compress and adjust these compression trim pots just inside the unit so that there is no movement when you switch back and forth between compression and limiting of the needle. Okay, test tone time. Start your test tone loop and leave it running on your digital audio workstation until we are done. The input of the unit should be set to 12 o'clock. Older units now don't have this next balancing adjustment, so hang tight for a minute. Send the test tone out of your digital audio workstation into the Variable Mu. Make sure that anything between the D to A and the Variable Mu is either removed from the chain or hardwire bypassed as to not affect the setup. Set the output of the digital audio workstation so that the right channel is sending back to your dB reader, in my case the Total Mix meter, minus 10 dB. Now using this gain balance, adjust the left channel to perfectly match the right channel's output at minus 10 dB. Last, we are setting up the meter's gain reduction accuracy. With the unit still set to limit, bring down the threshold knob so the channels are showing 6 dB of reduction on your digital meter. Again, for me, this is in Total Mix. In the mastering edition, I need to actually bring up the output of the DAW to feed slightly more signal into the Variable Mu so that the threshold has enough room to reduce down 6 dB. So reestablish the level and mark your output. For me, here you see it's minus 4.8. And using the threshold, I am able to reduce the signal to minus 10.7, just under 6 dB of reduction due to the stepped threshold that is on the mastering version. On the left channel, adjust VR9 so the VU meter now reads 6 dB of reduction, just like it does on your digital meter. Then bring the threshold back to 0 and adjust the front VU meter adjustment to show perfectly at 0. Then repeat this process as the trim pots are interactive. The goal is to show minus 6 dB of reduction accurately on the VU meter, matching the 6 dB of reduction shown on the digital meter on your digital audio workstation, and in my case, on Total Mix. Once you are done doing both the left channel and right channel, you are done. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, contact Manley at www.manley.com.